Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is really special and dear to my heart because I've been wanting to do a sewing tutorial for the longest of times, but I couldn't do it because I didn't have a sewing machine and so many other things. So today is just like a really special day, and I hope you watch this video to the end, and I hope you subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the comment section. So we're beginning off with the materials. I have thread, needle, tape, some pins, scissors, and a marker, and then we have our fabric. I'm going to be using a two-way stretch fabric, so I'm just demonstrating the stretch here in this video. You're going to fold it into 4 to make your cutting process easy, and you're going to take your t-shirt or your dress, which you're going to use as a pattern, and you're just going to cut around it. I want mine to be really free, as big as a t-shirt. That is why I am going like the extra inches while I'm cutting out the pattern. So you're just going to cut the pattern following the shape of your dress. This is for people who are like beginners, because for the longest time I have not grasp how to sew a pattern, so this is really easy for me. And then I'm just going to go around and cut the armhole and the neckline. So this is what your t-shirt dress should look like before you sew it, and honestly I'm not even like disappointed. I'm going to cut out the sleeves now. I wanted a bigger sleeve, but I'm short of fabric, so I'm just going to do the best I can, and I'm going to cut the shape out. This is also from an older t-shirt of mine, so a really easy way I learned from with Wendy is just to copy dresses or destroy older dresses so that you can easily cut them out. Anywho's it, now we are going to the pinning stage. So because I'm a beginner and it's really easy for me if I sew the shoulders first so that I could sew the arms, and so that I could sew the sleeves of the dress, and then I just sew everything. I'll show you guys in a minute. So right now I'm just going to connect the shoulder seams. I'm just going to sew a straight zigzag stitch on it, and that's going to make sure that my stretch is still there. So that's what we have. I'm going to line my sleeve, and I'm going to pin the center so that I can match it to the center of the shoulder. And then I'm just going to pin the dress all through. I'm going to pin the sleeves of the dress all through. I'm going to match them to the armhole, and I'm going to pin it down, and I'm going to take that to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew it up. Alright, now I'm just sewing everything together with a zigzag stitch. Even though it's really not necessary, I'm just excited. For Christ's sakes, I've been waiting for a machine for the longest time, so I'm going to use all the stitches if I can. After sewing them down, see, your dress is already having the t-shirt form. And even though I didn't show you on camera, I already went ahead and I sewed down I just did like a basic hem on the stitch. Like, you just fold over the sleeves and sew down so that it looks neat. And then I'm going to pin all the openings, so that's basically from the sleeves right down to the dress. And I'm going to take it back to my sewing machine, and I'm going to just run it through with a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch. It really doesn't matter, because this is like the end of the dress. It doesn't really disturb the stitch or anything, so I'm going to use a straight stitch for this. And then I'm going to move to the neck. I was really scared of this one, but it turned out okay. So for the neck, you're just going to cut out a piece of fabric depending on how thick you want the neck to be. I wanted mine to be like t-shirt ish, so I probably cut it to like 3 inches, and you're going to sew it down and fold it like this. And then you're going to take it to the t-shirt dress already, and then you're going to take your pins, and you're going to pin the sides first so that they match on the machine. and then you're going to just take everything and pin it together, right sides kissing, of course, because when you fold it up you want all the right sides to be on one side. You're going to take it to your machine. This one I actually did use a zigzag stitch. If I used a couple of stitches, I used the zigzag to seal the end so that it makes it neat, and then I used the straight stitch to just, you know, sew it together to sandwich everything together. And it was pretty difficult because it was really thick, and also I'm a beginner, so you may want to do this part really really slowly so that you don't break your needle and so that you don't get confused, because at some point I was really confused with this. So you're just going to keep sewing and eventually you're going to get the hang of it. I just did that and I cut it. Right now I'm going to show you how to sew the hem, and what I'm doing is a basic hem. You're just going to roll the fabric, which is easy to do because this fabrics always roll, and then you're going to do a zigzag stitch. This one is really important so that the stretch of the dress is going to be maintained, even though you are not going to be like stretching or doing whatever. Material to be using for this video are a scissors, some pins, tailor's chalk, your pattern or what you want the dress to be like, and again more patterns. For this tutorial I'm using some really really thick one-way jersey knit stretch fabric, and as always you're going to fold your fabric into four so that you can cut your pattern easily and they'll be identical. You're going to put the t-shirt layout on it, and then you're just going to cut around it as I did in the first video. Since this fabric is a little bit thick, you may have to cut it in twos or like cut it in sections like what I'm doing here, so don't be alarmed if you cannot go through your scissors, if your scissors cannot go through your fabric, sorry. So yeah, I'm going to just cut the end because I really hate when my fabric rolls up like this. It's really not necessary, but I cannot stand it. It's still going to roll, but for now I just want to have like clean rolls and everything. And then I'm going to cut the other fabric so that it could be two pieces instead of just a conjoined piece. And then I'm going to cut a deeper neckline for the back, and I'm going to open up the armhole. So I'm going to cut the armhole a little bit so that the two pieces of fabric can have the same armhole size. And then I'm going to take out one piece of the fabric and I'm just going to cut a deeper neckline so that I can use this for the front. So when you open up your fabric, this is what it should look like. And now we have our front and back pieces. Again, as usual, I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to pin the shoulders because this one does not really have like an extra sleeve. I'm just going to sew everything, like I'm going to sew all the openings. So I'm basically just going to sew everything down in one get-go. So here I am back on the sewing machine. I'm just going to run some straight stitches through all the openings so that I could just get everything meshed together and get a whole dress out of it. So I'm going to pin everything down together and I'm just going to fold it over and pin it as I'm showing you in this clip. And because I want to do a lettuce hem, I'm going to be stretching the hem or the dress as I'm sewing it down so that it gives me that nice lettuce hem. But I just want to go on the record and say that this was failed because when you're doing the lettuce hem, you're supposed to fold you're supposed to fold it twice so that there's no raw edges, and I totally missed the memo. Okay, so for this tutorial you're going to be needing pins, elastic, tape, scissors, and your fabric. I just want to say that you should use like really nice high quality fabric because this fabric was trash, and even though it had like two-way stretch, it really stressed me in the end. So you're going to fold your fabric into two, and you're going to make sure that it's nice and smooth on the table. So you're just going to try to sort that one out, and then you're going to take your template or your pattern or whatever thing you're copying the thing from. So this is an old crop top of mine that I made before and I really like the way it fits around my breast, so I'm going to use it on this. I'm going to use it as measurement for this fabric. So you're going to put that down, and then because it's a ruched, I don't know how to pronounce it, because it's a ruched top, you really do not need like it to hug your body and everything. So I'm just going to mark down how long I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut it, and I'm not paying attention to curves or whatever. So once you've cut your fabric, you're going to need to pin down the top and the bottom, and I'm going to start with the bottom. I'm just going to pin it down like maybe half an inch or 1/3 of a centimeter. I'm just going to pin it down, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on it so that it's looking nice and it doesn't take away from the stretch. Again, because this fabric was really trash, when I was sewing it, it kept on doing that zigzaggy thing that machines do, and it's really annoying. And for this next one, because I'm going to be using a 1-inch elastic band, I'm going to make sure that the measurement I give for the elastic is 2 inches, so that when you fold it over, it becomes 1 inch. I'm going to sew everything down on my sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. So this is what you should have, and I already fed in my elastic, if that's a word. I already put my elastic in, and there are many videos on how to do that. I'm just going to show you how it looks like, and then I'm going to sew it down on the side so that I can have it tipped up. I went ahead and started doing this because it was really difficult off camera, so I'm just going to tell you what I did. Like I said before, the fabric was trash and it kept on doing that thing. It wasn't holding to my stitches. Maybe it was my needle. I just learned that needles affect the way you're sewing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these strips of fabric and I'm going to pin them down on the line where I want to sew it, and then I'm going to sew it first. You can use bias. I didn't have bias at home, plus I was sewing this in the middle of the night, so these strips of fabric was like the only thing I could think of at the moment, and also I was really sleep deprived. So yeah, so you're going to sew down the strips of fabric, and I'm going to caution you that you should draw a line down. No matter how straight you think your line is going, it is not straight, let me tell you, okay? Because I could not do this thing again because I was already using a zigzag stitch and it was really hard, plus elastic. So draw a line down so that you have it to perfection and not do what I was doing. But to make it rushed, you're going to pull the elastic and you're just going to sew on it. As you can see, it's going pretty well because of the material that is acting as some sort of interface or something. But yeah, so this is what you should have, and this is what your top should look like. I'm going to turn it to the good side so that you see it. You're going to need to cut off all your stray loose hanging threads, and this is what your fabric should be. So last but not the least, for this you're going to use eyelets. I have a couple my dear friend from YouTube at Desiree sent for me, and ones I got from AliExpress. And then I have my fabric, and it's a two-way stretch, but the other way it's not really, in fact it's a one-way stretch. The other stretch doesn't stretch as much. I'm going to take this nice mini skirt I have, makes my bum look nice, and I'm going to use it as a template to cut this skirt. So you're just going to cut how long you want it to be. You should make it a little bit longer so that you can, what's the word, so that you can cut it if it's shorter, because once you cut it short there is no going back, sis. Like, I've been there, I've done that. It's not pretty, so cut it longer. And then you're going to cut the side so that you can get two separate pieces instead of one conjoined piece. So this is what my skirt looks like, and because it's really basic, I'm just going to sew down. I'm going to pin it down on the sides. And also I have this same skirt. I have like a more detailed tutorial I transformed from leggings to a skirt on my blog those days when I was doing blogs and everything. So yes, you should, I'm going to link it so that you can go and check it. I'm going to put it in my description box. It was really fun times back then, so I think I'm going to go back into doing that since I have a machine and now I can actually sew. Yeah, so I'm basically pinning this dress down on both sides, and then I'm going to sew the two sides. You have seen me sew a couple of times, so by now you should get the hang of it. I'm going to use a normal stitch. So I'm going to use a elastic band, and I'm going to cut it to fit my waist, and then I'm going to go on my machine and I'm going to sew it down so that I can lock the elastic. This is what it should look like. I didn't want to do the traditional waistband, so what I'm doing is actually something new, and I'm literally just doing it as I'm going. I'm going to pin 4 sides down. You can mark it with a chalk, but I prefer pinning it so that it's going to be easy. And then you're going to pin it right sides together. Elastic doesn't have right sides, but you're going to pin it on the right side of the elastic so that you can fold it into the wrong side. And this is like the really tricky part, but you're just going to make sure that you pin everything together. And as you can see, I'm really struggling here, so you should like pay a lot of attention when you're doing this. After pinning the 4 sides down, you can go ahead and you just pin everything down together. If it's going to be difficult for you to be pinning while you're sewing, it is going to be difficult, so pin it down before you go to the sewing machine. Don't be making like a pro when you're a beginner. And then I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to go on my machine and sew it down zigzag style. After sewing that, I'm going to cut it and I'm going to fold it in as I am demonstrating in this video. You will need to iron it first. I hate ironing, so I don't know what kind of seamstress or sewing person hates ironing, but you should iron it down so that it looks neat. And I already sewed it down as I'm showing you in this clip, because it wasn't as short as I wanted it to be. I went ahead and I cut it again. Kit, I hope you're taking notes. I'm going to pin it down one time, and I'm going to do a zigzag hem on it. This fabric is absolutely the best. Like, if it wasn't so heavy, I'll probably sew tons and tons of dresses with this fabric, because it takes to stitching very well and it's really neat and everything. And also, I'm going to give you guys my fabric plug down below, so if you want to try this out, you should definitely meet up with him and get it. So I'm going to pin everything down and take it to my machine, and I'm going to use the zigzag stitch, and I'm going to run it all the way round the I'm going to go in with a ruler, and I'm going to mark how long I want my slit to be, and then I'm going to put a pin there so that I don't go overboard. And I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to pin like the sides I just cut open down so that I can go on my sewing machine and sew it down. Again, I'm going to be using the zigzag stitch as I used before. I'm going to show you guys how the eyelets are going to work so that you know what you're going to do. This is what we have, and I'm going to sew it down on the sewing machine. Again, like I said, I'm going to be using the zigzag stitch. So I want to just show you guys how neat it looks like. What? Perfecto. I'm going to give the Italian chef kiss now, because that's really how I feel. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to mark the distance on how I want my eyelets to be. I tried to do the whole 1 inch thing, but it wasn't really working for me, because if I did 1 inch, it wouldn't really show skin. So I kept on going back and forth, and I don't know what I finally decided on, but I think it was like 1/3. After you're going to mark it down, you're going to use a bigger ruler and you're going to match the markings to the other side so that it's going to be uniform. Your zigzag or your pin is not going to be doing crankum, like it's not going to be opposite sides and everything. You're going to take your hole puncher and you're going to punch. You really don't need a hole puncher, you can use the pin, because I'm such a mess. I always like buying things. I'm going to take my eyelets and I'm going to force it through the hole I made on the hole puncher, and then I'm going to put down the eyelets. I'm going to put the back of the eyelets and I'm going to press it down with this thingy that came with the eyelet. That wasn't working, so clearly I went back to my book. And fellow book people, please forgive me, this was really the only hard thing I had. And you're going to use this other attachment with the hammer so that your eyelets come out nice. And this is what we have. See how neat my stitches are. I am so proud of myself. That's it, guys. You've come to the end of this video. I am so proud of myself. I hope you try this out. Tag me on Instagram if you do. I love you guys. See you in the next video. Subscribe, leave a comment down below.